Bring in columnist for USA Today and the LA Times, Kurt Bardella. Kurt, last week we had you on talking about an increase of crime and violence against Asian Americans. I must say that it was one of the more remarked upon segments that we've had in quite some time on social media and also with emails that I got. This was a widespread problem last week, and while we can't jump in, the police officers won't want us jumping to any quick conclusions now. It certainly looks like some of your greatest fears in that column last week were recognized in Atlanta last night.
Yeah, Joe, even setting aside the tragedy in Atlanta, we know that this week there was someone walking the streets of New York City who was verbally assaulted by a white woman getting in a cab yelling, "Go back to China," at them. We know that there is in California, someone being prosecuted as a hate crime for spitting on Asian Americans who were just dining at a restaurant. This is a systemic problem right now that's reached crisis point. And it really is a sickening feeling to start your day and go through the motions of your day knowing that going through everyday activities could result in violence being perpetrated on me because of the way that I look. And I go back to, why is this happening? Why have we seen, according to new data, this huge uptick in violence against Asian Americans? Why are we seeing a 150% increase in hate crimes against the AAPI community? And it all coincides with the timing of the rhetoric of the Republican Party using terms like China virus and Kung flu. I think about last fall when 164 Republicans voted against a resolution put forward by Congresswoman Grace Ming to just simply condemn violence against Asian Americans. How do you vote against something like that? How do you tell people who look like me with a recorded vote that our lives mean less than other people's? How do you condone rhetoric that has been proven to show incites violence and hate and makes the world more dangerous for people who look like me? How do you condone that behavior? How do you clap when someone says China virus? How do you look the other way time and again when the leader of your party continues to use this type of inflammatory rhetoric? We know, just after watching the events of January 6th, that the supporters of the Trump movement will take their words literally and perpetrate violence against the targets of them. And I'm so tired of going through life with this bullseye put on my back by one of the two major political parties in America. It makes me sick.
Kurt, I hear you. It's powerful. There's another case where former President Trump, never understood the power of his words. It was a throwaway line. He thought maybe it was funny or it stirred up his base. But a lot of people who tune into everything he says take it more literally. Of course, we do have to underline again that in the case in Atlanta that we're talking about right now, authorities have not drawn a link to a hate crime, but you can sort of look at the pattern of those three shootings. So, Kurt, what do we do to get at the root of this? We're talking about it after the fact and responding to attacks on the street that we're seeing in New York City, of people walking down the street and getting sucker punched, stuff like that. How do we get at the root of this problem?
Well, I think it starts with leadership at the top. We went the better part of a year with the most powerful person with the biggest microphone in the land inflaming racial tensions in this country. And now we finally have a president who's willing to give a voice, to these type of situations. President Biden talked about this the other night in the statement that he delivered to the country, abhorring the violence against Asian Americans. I think that we need to look at the type of tools that law enforcement, public safety have to actually investigate and prosecute these type of incidents as hate crimes. Oftentimes, hate crimes go underreported and aren't investigated as hate crimes, and that's a real problem in this country. Again, I think that ultimately, though, one of the most important things, and I can't stress this enough, is having just representation and visibility for our community. For too long, the plight against Asian Americans has gone not talked about, unrecognized, given kind of backseat status. And it's so important to have shows and platforms like Morning Joe that reaches such an influential and impactful audience to deliver the message that this is a crisis. And this is something that we need everybody to come together and to lend a voice to. when there's a hate crime against one of us, it really affects all of us. And I think that the beginning of the solution to this starts with representation and visibility for the Asian American community.
Kurt Bardella, thank you so much. We appreciate your thoughts this morning. Again, we still don't know the motive in yesterday's attacks in the Atlanta area, but we certainly will continue to follow this story and the investigation.